The NRL 2021 season is less than a week away, and of course that means it's time to go through the most anticipated videos of the year for most rugby league content creators, and I'm going to be going through my NRL 2021 predictions over this coming weekend. Today we're going to be doing the ladder predictions, tomorrow's the Dally M, and on Sunday we'll be doing the finals predictions and go through who I think will be winning it all. So with that, it's time to go through. But before we get into it, make sure you guys are bloody subscribed, alright? If you want some bloody more footy content, then you're not going to want to not subscribe, because we are going to be banging out so much NRL and Rugby League Live 4 videos over this season, and I can't bloody wait for it. The footy is back. But of course, there is something we have to address. I have given him all off season and made my predictions videos the week before because I've been waiting for this geezer. But Cameron Smith has not yet made a decision on where he will be playing or retiring in 2021. So if he does that and this video becomes stupid because he's signed with the Broncos or the Titans, just know I automatically make the 8 for me. Whoever Cameron Smith goes to is automatically a top 8 side. And then I still probably back him to make the 8. And I'll probably have to do another bloody predictions video. But with that, it's time to go through my ladder predictions today. Dally M's tomorrow and finals on Sunday. So, we're going to be going through the wooden spooners all the way to the minor premiers. I'll give you my top 8, my top 4 and all that good stuff. And unfortunately, it will be good talking about positives towards the end of this video when we get to top 8, top 4 on that. But it's time to start out with, well, the bad part. You guys are going to hate me. Now, of course, this is all my opinion, and I'm not going to get this all right, even though I did get the 2018-2019 premiers right at the start of the season. And midway through last year, I did tip Melbourne to win the comp and get that right. And I got like 7 out of 8 in my top 8. No, it doesn't matter. This is my opinion. I'm definitely going to get something wrong. So, you know, don't stress out, because I know if I put your team not in the 8, you're going to hate me. So dislike the video. Buddy, let me know what you think in the comments, but it's time to go through 16 to 1, set the foundation for my Dally M predictions, basically, and my finals predictions. And yeah, well, this is the one everyone's at least got a chance at me talking about their team for. So, it's time to start out with the wooden spooners, and my opinion on this has changed a couple times throughout the off-season, but now I've made my decision. In fact, my whole ladder, I've said in concrete a couple times, gone over it. This is my ladder. Starting out, the wooden spooners in 16th place. I'm sorry, it is going to be the St. George Illawarra Dragons. The poor St. George Illawarra Dragons just had the off-season from hell. First, their captain, their best player, Cameron McInnes, signs with their biggest rival, the Cronulla Sharks. So, you know, there are already question marks about his loyalty. Should he be captain? Is he going to go early? And then he goes and does his ACL, which means he is out for the entire season. They go out and sign Andrew McCulloch, which I do not get. I think Ben Hunt is a terrific dummy half, a better dummy half than he is at halfback. Speaking of Ben Hunt, he's the captain. Now, originally you think Ben Hunt, Captain Watt, but when you look at the rest of that team, besides maybe Paul Vaughan, which is what I would have gone with, they don't have an established player who has been there a while. So you can't really give anyone captain, and at least Ben Hunt is the halfback, he is the main controller, he is pretty much the leader of that team. But I've seen nothing in them. Their roster is not the best. They still got Matt Duffy, who is a good player. Zach Lomax is one of the best centers in the competition. They also lose Tyson Frizzell, who was their second best player last year and for the last couple of years. Tarek Sims, he's on and off. Paul Vaughan, can be a beast, but he was pretty poor last year. Their forward pack is probably one of the worst in the competition. And besides Duffy and Lomax, they got one of the worst backlines. So I think it's a tough year for the Dragons. I think the wooden spoon is calling them. Did not have him for most of the off-season, but ever since the whole McInnes debacle, and now just after recent performances in the 2 trial games. I know you're not meant to use trial games a lot, but they did get smashed pretty much both times. But, you know, even besides the trial games, they did not fulfill me with much. I don't think Corey Norman's going to spend too much time in the halves. I think we're going to end up seeing Ben Hunt and Adam Clune in there. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough year for the Dragons. I've got them in the wooden spoon position. Sorry, Dragons fans, dislike the video. Let me know why you disagree. But unfortunately, St. George Illawarra Dragons will get the wooden spoon, in my opinion, in 2021. And now over to the team which I thought would be picking up the wooden spoon for the majority of the season. In 15th position, I have the West Tigers. Now, you Tigers fans, I know there's a lot of you out there. Unfortunately, fellas, I don't think you're in for a good year. They're a bit weird. They say they've got all these young guns coming through, but when you look at their starting 13 and who they're signing, they're all older players, older leaders, and you might need that. And Tigers fans, you're saying this is the year. You've been saying it for the past 10, mate. They don't have the best back line. I think Dane Laurie should get the start at fullback. I don't know if Moses Mbai deserves it. Although when you look at captaincy, he probably does deserve it, but if he's the right option is another question. James Roberts, I think, will have an improved year. David Nofaluma is probably the only not even superstar, but a top 5 player in his position. He's an absolute weapon. But besides him, Joe Leilua is inconsistent as hell and, pretty overweight, I'm not going to lie. Tommy Talau, he is not the best. Luke Brooks, if he's the man to lead you to the finals, I'm very sorry, but I do not see it. I do not know why he got rid of Benji Marshall. Adam Dewey at 5'8", it'll be interesting to see. James Tarmo is a good player, but he's more of a leader than he is a good prop. He's not really a top 10 front rower. They're dummy half. They've lost Harry Grant too, who, again, like the Dragons, they've just lost their best player from last season. Their back row, Luke Garner's alright. Luciano Leilua is a good player, but, they've lost a lot, the Tigers. They're trying to say that they've got this young team coming through. They're all older veterans who have passed their prime, who aren't going to be back to the form they were once in. And just on paper, their roster is just not the best. You look at their backline besides Nofaluma and maybe James Roberts, but even James Roberts, what we've seen the past couple of years, he's pretty not the best. We're not going to get Brisbane Broncos James Roberts ever again, I don't think. The halves are probably, not going to lie, the worst halves combination in the competition. Luke Brooks just doesn't do it for me. Adam Dewey will be interesting to see, but I think he's a fullback, not a 5'8". And their forward pack, there's just so much better out there. So unfortunately, Tigers fans, it's another year without finals footy for you. I've got you in 15th. And while we are talking about the teams that will finish at the bottom of the ladder, last year's wooden spooners, the Brisbane Broncos, I've got them in 14th. Now for Brisbane, for me, this year is all about improvement and not getting belted. If they can just compete every week and improve, they'll be right. They have lost David Fafita. He is a pretty big loss. I don't know if he's as big as a loss and worth $1.2 million or whatever he's on, but he's still a huge loss. They still got some good players. Get Tony Staggs, he's going to miss the first part of the season, which does hurt. In my opinion, he's probably their second best player, along with Payne Haas, who is also missing the first part of the season. So that's going to be hard. Their spine is not that great. Jermaine Asarko's a bit unproven. The halves, there's so many question marks around them. Milford has not been the best in quite some time. Tom Dearden, Brodie Croft. Dearden's alright, but he's still so young. He's not going to get you much. They don't have an experienced half, is what I'm trying to say. Turpin at dummy half. He's a good player, I guess, but still, when you just compare him to the other dummy halves, he's just not the best. Their forward pack is probably their strongest suit. They got Haas. They have lost Fafita, but they got Pangai Jr. still. I think Asiata should be playing a lock role. Carrigan's a good, he's a decent player. He's not earth-shattering or anything, but he's quite good. And Jordan Ricky, actually, he's the one I'm going to be looking forward to the most this year. I reckon he's incredible. Backed him his first try and score in the All-Stars game, and they gazed and let me down. They have a decent back line. I think, despite me having the Broncos in 14th, Staggs and Coates down their right-hand edge will cause damage, but on their left side, I don't see much. Farnworth, he was a decent player last year. Mead's getting on. I don't know if he's going to be good. Corey Oates, I'd still be my preferred wing option, but if he wants to play back row, and Kevy's had him playing back row all preseason, you can't change it now. For me, they just don't have the roster. They do not have the spine. Their forward pack is pretty much their strongest suit. They're not going to get the wooden spoon again. I think the Tigers and the Dragons will be battling out for that spot. But I think if Brisbane just don't get smashed by 50, a couple times this year, if they can just compete with the better teams, they'll still lose a couple games, but it's all about getting these young guys experience. They got such a young roster. If they got an experienced half, I might back them, but the way Milford's been playing, the way their spine is set out, and the fact that Haas and Staggs are both out for the beginning of the year, I've got the Broncos not having the best start, and in turn, they will finish in 14th position. And it's time to let the controversy start, because rounding off the bottom four, I've got a team that has played finals footy for the majority of the past 10 years. The Cronulla Sharks will finish in 13th position. I don't know how they made the 8 last year. Last year was such a weird year, changing. There was no preseason before COVID, the changing of the rules. It was an interesting year, but for me, the Sharks, they're in a weird transitional period. They're still trying to hang on to their 2016 premiership despite they're all getting older, they're all aging. Now, I do have more of a hope after seeing Andrew Fafita in the All-Stars game. Good to see him drop a few kilos. He looks like he could be a beast once again. But Matt Moylan, I'm sorry, but if you think Tom Turbo's had a bad luck with injury, Matt Moylan has not been good on the park since 2018 or something, the first year he was at the Sharks. He's struggling a lot. Josh Dugan's getting up there. Jesse Raymond can break a couple games open, but his hype's gone down ever since he went to Newcastle. The wingers are pretty good. Ronaldo, Mulitalu, or whatever his name is, Encioni, Katoa, they're pretty beast. If Sean Johnson, he's one of his best years, I thought, last year. So if he can get back to that sort of form, they could be all right. Chad Townsend did have a bit of a drop-off year. But their forward pack, it's getting older. Besides Hamanueli coming off the bench and even Toby Rudolph, they're just not the best. And even Rudolph's not one of the best, locks in the competition. Wade Graham, he's also getting up there. He's not a bad player, Wade Graham. He's definitely probably in the top 5, top 10 back rowers. He's a good captain, but for me, the Sharks, they're just getting older. They're not getting any better. They haven't really made too many signings. Aiden Tolman will be interesting to see how he goes. They don't have a bad spine per se, but if Sean Johnson can stay healthy, they could make the 8. But I feel like this is the year these older boys finally start realising they're probably getting close to retirement, and the Sharks drop out of the top 8 and into the bottom 4. And from this point on, I think all these teams can maybe play finals footy, including the Sharks. I don't think the Broncos, Tigers or Dragons really have a chance. Maybe the Broncos, but I could be completely wrong. But in 12th, I have the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Trent Barrett has already done a terrific job with recruitment. I don't know what he's secretly doing to get these guys there, if it's dodgy or not. And I'm not meaning dodgy as in salary cap breaking. You know what I mean by dodgy, alright? But Flanagan, terrific signing. Most of their better signings, like Bernardo Dakar, don't kick in until next year, but still. Corey Waddell, great pickup. I think he'll end up starting back row with Josh Jackson. I don't know why the heck Manly let him go. I'm actually so cranky about that. Jack Hetherington, what a beast, what a player. I feel like he's going to have big things. Their backline isn't the best and their forward pack isn't the best, but they're pretty much the opposite of the Sharks. They're all young, they're all coming through. It could be a case of Brisbane, just too many young guys, no one really experienced enough besides Josh Jackson, who probably was the Alex Glenn in this situation, and they just struggle and come last because, on paper, they're completely outclassed by a lot of these teams and they don't have the experience. But I'll back them. I reckon Averillo and Flanagan could be a good halves combination. Flanagan pretty much controlling everything, and then Averillo could pretty much just run. Their forward pack, I feel like, is good. Their forward pack's good. I reckon Dylan Napper's going to have a career year. I feel like Jeremy Marshall-King's still a bit of a question mark around him. It's one of those situations, again, you look at their spine, and it's just not the best. And to do well, you need a good spine. But they've just got a good, young, explosive players, the Doggies, and I would be lying if I didn't say I was biased after just playing Rugby League 4 career modes with them since August. But unfortunately, Doggies fans, no 8 for you this year. I've got them in 12th position, but I reckon they will be on the up and they will not be disappointed. Attack's going to be better. They got Trent Barrett coming in. That was his one positive at Manly. His attack was always phenomenal. Even when we came second last, we were losing games like 36-30. If the Doggies can keep that defence that they built under Dean Pay and that attack under Barrett, they're going to be good. They will be good, but again, too inexperienced. Their forward pack isn't the best in terms of the premier teams of the competition. It's still good. Their backline's pretty weak and their spine isn't the best either. Doggies fans, not going to be as tough as the past couple of years, but again, top 8, probably going to have to wait till next year. 11th position now, and this is one team that I feel like could either make the finals comfortably or even contend for the wooden spoon. It is the North Queensland Cowboys. They have some good players, And also a lot of question marks. Fullback Val Holmes probably going to be. He's on $1 million a year. I feel like with a full preseason under his belt, Val Holmes will be better. I'd still rather see him on the wing, even if he is getting paid that much. It doesn't matter where you play him. It just matters as long as they're performing their best. Scotty Drinkwater, I don't know if he'll be at the Cowboys much longer. I feel like he's my pick to go to the Warriors to replace RTS. He's a good fullback, but he's going to be playing 5'8" with Michael Morgan, who I love, but Morgan is a running 6. He isn't sort of a 7 like a Pierce, like a Reynolds, like a DCE. He's not an organizer. He's a runner. I personally would have Morgan and Clifford with Drinkwater at fullback, but that didn't work in the trial match very well. And it's only a trial match. I don't know what they're stressing out for. Their backline, they got Kyle Felt, who is really good in attack, but can be pretty weak defensively. He's definitely one of the better wingers in the competition. Their centers, I do not want to see the hammer at center. He will get destroyed. He's still so young. Please leave him on the wing. But then again, if you want to have Drinkwater at fullback, there's just so many question marks around him. Their centers aren't the best either, and their back rowers. Their back rowers and their centers are not the best. They need a back rower and they need a center. Teams are going to be going at those edges all day long, and I feel like they could be in for a rough year. But also their forward pack. Their forward pack's going to win them games by themselves. It's one of the better forward packs in the competition. Still question marks around the dummy half, but Maguire and Francis Molo are both really good. Maguire's more of a ball player. The back rowers are pretty not the best. They're probably the worst back rowing partnership in the competition, but they got Jason Tamalolo at lock, the best forward in the game, one of the best forwards of all time. But again, their depth isn't the best. If they get a few injuries, they're done for. And I know you shouldn't predict with these injuries, but Morgan needs to stay healthy. I feel like he will. I feel like Morgan will play 15 to 20 games this year. But again, I just feel like their back rows and their centers are just going to be run out all day, especially up against the Panthers with kick out. The Roosters are crying. Manly's got 0. Parramatta could destroy him pretty much with Buddy Madison and Lane. But look, they got a lot of weak points. They got a lot of strong points and a lot of weak points, the Cowboys. I don't know if they're going to be too well in 2021. Like I said, they're going to make the 8 easily, or they couldn't even contend for the wooden spoon. If Morgan and Tamalolo stay on the park, I feel like they'll be right. But again, a lot of weak positions for them. The centers and the back rowers, I'm very concerned about them. I'm very concerned about the Cowboys, especially in defense. But that's why I've got them in 11th. And unfortunately, Cowboys fans, based off this ladder, there's no finals for you in 2021. And to finish off the Queensland teams in 10th position, which all of you are going to hate me for, which all of you are going to talk crap about me for, I've got the Gold Coast Titans. The Gold Coast Titans, in my opinion, will not be playing finals football. They'll be contending for the 8, but I don't think they're going to get there. I reckon AJ Brimson, for me, is the gel that holds this team together. They also have a really good forward pack, so I'll touch on that real quick. Fodawaker, he's bound to play for Queensland. Mitch Rain, we won't include dummy halves and forward packs, eh? Jared Wallace, he's a good player, but he's sort of gone down the past couple of years. He looked really good back when the Titans were pretty bad, so now they have a better team. We might see Jared Wallace, sort of fall off a little bit like we did last year. Herman Esiasi, goodbye. The back rowers, Proctor and Fafita, is one of the best back row partnerships in the competition. And Tino at lock. That is actually a really good back row. That's one of the best back row trios that you will see in the competition. But Brimson and Kelly, their back line, besides them two, it's pretty weak. Anthony Don, I love the Don. He seems like a terrific bloke, but he gets caught out all the time. He's a club legend for the Titans. But so he probably will be starting, even though Corey Thompson and Philip Sammy might be better options. But you can't not. No, I'd go the Don. But speaking of Sammy, he got exposed in Origin. He'll probably get exposed again. He only played Origin because, well, it was Queensland in 2020. I still don't know how they won. Kelly, he's good, but the other centre, Patrick Herbert, he had a good year last year, but he's still not elite. And their spine is the big question mark for me. Brimson, if Brimson goes down, they're done for. If Brimson goes down, they're fighting for the spoon. I reckon Brimson will stay fit though, but even still, Ash Taylor, there's no excuses anymore. You signed $1 million. You have to perform if you want $1 million. Even screw the contract, just do your job at 5'8". Jamal Fogarty is, in my opinion, already very overrated. I'm sorry, I like Jamal Fogarty. He seems like a terrific bloke. His story is so good. He kept playing and playing and playing until he finally got consistent first grade footy. But he has a good kicking game and he can defend. He's nowhere near the talent of a Cherry Evans or a Cleary or even a Mitchell Moses or a George Williams, Jerome Hughes. He's not even in the top 10 starting halfbacks in the competition, in my opinion, you know. And Mitch Rain at dummy half, if they get Cameron Smith, look, they're contending for top 4 if they can get Cameron Smith, because he takes all that pressure off Fogarty and Ash Taylor. But for me, their spine is what's going to let them down. Their forward packs are going to win them games by themselves. It's that good. David Fafita, I'm sorry, Brisbane fans, he will crack a game open. He has the ability to do that, even though he's going to have a massive target on his back because he's getting paid more than all of these Donnies. But besides that trio in the back row and their 2 front rowers, I feel like they're going to struggle. Brian Kelly and AJ Brimson are 2 really good players for me. But besides that, their spine is one of the weakest in the competitions. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but for me, Taylor and Fogarty just aren't going to work. But their talent, you know, their skill level, they're pretty much one of the worst halves combinations in the competition, in my opinion, you know. Which isn't to say they're bad, it's just when you compare them to the other ones, they're not that good. Their forward pack are winning games, but the Titans, you know, you won the past 5 games at the back end of the year when you played shit teams and no one cared about you. For the first 15 rounds, you were competing for the wooden spoon. You were dog shit, alright? There's no other way to say it. You were poor, you were bad, you did the doggies. You did the doggies in 2019, you did the doggies in 2018. Oh, they end the season. Oh, same team though. Let's see how... No. Titans fans, don't get too excited. You got a documentary coming out, so just compete for the 8. At least compete for the 8. If you get bottom 4, I probably will never tip you to make the 8 in your club's history unless you get Cameron Smith. But, Titans fans, look... expect a good season in terms of what you've had in previous years, but no top 8 for you, I am sorry. No Queensland team for 2 years in a row is making the 8 in 2021. Now this one is the one that's going to hurt me the most. This is the one where even myself, I'm going, why did you have to do this? But in 9th position, I saw them make the 8. Just know that. I'm rooting for them. They're my second team this year. I saw them to do well. But in 9th position, I've got the New Zealand Warriors. I'm sorry. No finals footy for you guys this year. They're probably out there with the Titans, the most hyped up teams in the competition. The Warriors are a bit more warranted at least. They have made improvements all over the field really. But Rodgers last year, they should put in an effort. But it's just, this is a matter of the teams that I have in the 8 are just better. Channel Harris, DeVito, Ko Nikorima, they're going to be inconsistent. I feel like the Warriors are going to be one of those teams where they'll beat top 4 oppositions but then lose to bottom 4 oppositions. They'll be really inconsistent. They'll improve. I really want to make the 8. I can't change it, alright? I can't change it, Warriors fans. I love you to death. I love the Warriors. What they've done for the game is amazing. They still got a beast forward pack. Adam Fanua-Blake, as long as the bikies don't come for him, is going to be a beast. The dummy half, a lot of question marks around that. Their spine is good, besides the dummy half, which, to be fair, there's a lot of teams where you have the good spine, they miss 1 or 2 positions. But their back row is good. Elise Katoa, I love him. Tohu Harris, one of the best second rowers, if not the best second rower in the competition. Jazz Tavaga, I don't know if he's their long-term option at lock. Personally, I would like to see them go out and buy someone. If they can get Brandon Smith for 2022, they're definitely going to make the 8, and it kills me not to put him in. But for me, good backline, good forward pack, decent halves, but the problem is when you just compare their backline, their halves, like their spine and their forward pack to other teams, it's just decent. They're going to be fighting for the 8 all year. They're going to have moments where they're in probably the top 4, they're in the top 8, they're probably in the bottom 4. They're going to be one of those teams that just float around. Consistency is the key for them. If they can stay consistent, they'll probably make the 8. That's my biggest problem with them. I feel like they're going to be inconsistent. Unfortunately, Warriors fans, I love yous. I love your team. Please, give him a competition in New Zealand. Let's play over there next year for him. But that's obviously a joke. But Warriors fans, I'm sorry. No finals footy for you guys. It would not surprise me. Like I said, from 9th to 14th, even the Broncos, if those teams did make the 8, it wouldn't surprise me a lot. But unfortunately, the 8 teams I have above them, I just think will have a better season. And yeah, that is it for the bottom 8. The boring stuff, the bad stuff is over, even though I love your Warriors. But it is time to talk about the top 8 in 8th position. You're already going to be calling me an idiot, but I've gone the Parramatta Eels. Parramatta fans last year went in with the highest of expectations. They went 5-0 for the first time since 1986, but, they fell off. That's what happens to Parramatta. That's what they've done for the finals and the few times they've made it in the past decade. They cannot get the job done. Clinton Gutherson is the key to him. If he has a good year, they're going to be good. But I don't know if he can replicate 2020, not only this year, but ever again. That was phenomenal. Mitchell Moses is the biggest question mark. If Moses can get back to 2019, they're good. But Dylan Brown may struggle. I reckon he won't. But I feel like taking Michael Jennings out of that attack, he's their number one strike option. Give him the ball and he can break a game open. He can make a line break out of nothing. Losing him, especially for Sevo and Dylan Brown, is going to be huge. Sean Lane doesn't really rely on Jennings too much, but that left-hand side for Parramatta, which has been so lethal, will struggle. And I don't think they've ever quite gotten to the form they had ever since they lost to the Roosters when Tedesco got injured. And, you were up against the Premiers and you just lost it. I don't know how you lost that game, to be honest, but I feel like taking Jennings out of that team is going to hurt them a lot, especially Sevo, who I don't know if will be at Parramatta for the future. But Parramatta, you're going to be hurting after last year. That was such a disappointing end to such a year where you were hyped up as a premiership favourites. You were the favourites at one point after the first 5 games. I know the NRL season, I say it all the time, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Parramatta came out of the gates too early last year, blew out, somehow stayed within the 4, but they just, at times last year, were dreadful. Losing 40-0 to the Rabbitohs, and then they did win 14-0 against Melbourne, but you took everyone out of that Melbourne team and you only managed to win 14-0. You take Jennings out of there, they're gonna struggle. Ferguson's gonna be in for a good year, in my opinion. They still have a beast forward pack. They got Paulo, RCG came back good last year. Reid Marnie didn't have sort of sophomore syndrome, second year syndrome, but he definitely wasn't as hyped up as he once was. I feel like it's because of Harry Grant though. Their back row, again, another lethal back row trio: Lane, Madison, and Nathan Brown. But for me, that's the key to them. Parramatta, their 4-pack, and Clint Gutherson. If Gutherson cannot perform as well as he did last year, they're going to be in for it. And I don't think Gutherson, no disrespect to him, can replicate last year's performance. Parramatta, for me, are in 8th position. The problem is, right, I've got them in the 8th, but they could probably even make top 4. They could even fall out of the 8. I don't know they're going to fall out of the 8. I feel like they've just got too much quality. And the teams above I have them, I think, will just have better years. Speaking of teams that I think will have better years, call me a biased prick in 7th. You know who I'm going to put. It's the bloody Manly Warringah Seagulls, boys. Now, call me a biased arsehole, call me whatever, but I'm telling you, let's just get it out of the way. Dummy half is a major concern. We don't get Fanu back till June if he's innocent. He probably did stab the Donny. And Anafanua is a big loss. Yes, we signed Josh Alioli or Alloway. I don't know, mate. I'm sorry. But he cannot replicate Anafanua Blake. Our only hope is Paseka can get back up to really good, form, come out. I reckon he will, but it's going to take time. Marty Tapau's a big key. But look, in 2019, 2020, he's he's the key. If Tom Trbojevic stays healthy, Manly won't just make the 8, they'll make the top 4. I don't think Turbo will play 20 games. Obviously, he's gone for probably the first 5 weeks, so that's out of the question. But if Turbo can play 15 games and just stay healthy and miss the few because of rest and origin, Manly aren't just a top 8 team, they're a top 4 team. He has an 85% win record in the past 2 seasons. It's even higher if you take out the games against Melbourne and the Titans where he gets injured in those games. But, it's just, he's the key. He's the best player in the world when he's healthy, You can argue that point. I'm not here to argue that point. But in my opinion, this video is all my opinion. That you probably already disliked and commented calling me a biased arsehole. But that's my prediction. Tommy Turbo plays 15 games. Manly do well. Jake Trbojevic is one of the best forwards, if not the second best forward behind Jason Taumalolo in the competition. Curtis Sirenen's a beast. Jack Krzyzewski is a concern. I would like to sign a back rower. I don't know why we didn't pursue Luke Garner or Bailey Sirenen, even though Garner's still on contract. There was rumours, blah, 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 blah. Marty Tapau, if he can get back to 2017 form, we're good. And the back line. Morgan Harper will have to play fullback for the first couple of games. I liked him in the trial match, even though we got destroyed. And trial matches, don't stress out. We lost 58-10 against Melbourne in 2008 in a trial match, and we went on to win the comp. We had our 8 best players not playing. Speaking of which, Kieran Foran, Daly Cherry Evans, they may not be the best, but they're the most accomplished halves pairing in the competition. DCE, everything came through him last year. That's why he was the Manly's best player. And he had such a good statistical year. Every try we scored came through Cherry Evans. Whether it was a kick, a pass to someone else who then set up the try. Everything came through DCE. If you give him Foran, who is the Bulldogs' best player despite being injured, he was the Bulldogs' best player for the past number of years. If those two can get back to 2011, 2014 form, they're the most accomplished halves pairing in the current competition. And they're one of the best halves pairings in the NRL era. Like, if you want to disagree with that, then whatever. But still, they are. Statistics show that. Their backline, Jason Saab, hopefully does well. Hopefully, he's unproven. He looked good at the Dragons. He's been hyped up to hell. But replacing him with Tafua, it's going to be a big difference. Because I feel like Saab will play on the left with Dylan Walker, who, if he can get back to Rabbitohs in 2017 Seagull form, we're good. Sully and Garrick, if they can just get back to 2019, if they just cut out last year, forget it, all right? Manly should just forget last year. If they can stay, if those two can get a combination going, Manly are sweet. Manly are sweet. They've still got a good forward pack despite losing Fanua Blake. The good thing about Manly is we have so many players where you can say, oh, he's like top 5 in that position, or he's top 3 in that position. Cherry Evans, him and Cleary are the 2 best halfbacks. We got the best fullback along with Tedesco if he's healthy. We got one of the best locks. Money to Power could probably be one of the better front rowers. A lot of people still considering one of the best front rowers. Him and Fanua Blake were deadly. Alioli, LOA, I can't say it, mate. But, a lot of people predicting him to go to the next level. Curtis Sirian a couple of years ago was tipped to play Origin. Joel Thompson was also another loss, which I'm concerned about. He was one who was really good defensively. And that's the thing. If we can fix our defence, we got so many players, even if Tom's not there, our attack will come. We got Cheza, Foran, Walker can do something. The dummy half is the big concern. Personally, and I haven't done my lineup yet, but I've gone Lachlan Croker just because he can defend and he can pass the ball. Custody for me is a bit too weak in defence. And plus, even if we do lose Foran, Schuster comes in to play 5'8", who against the Tigers, we dominated when he was in, when he was playing and when he went off again. And poor Cherry Evans. If you can give Cherry Evans his number starting 1, 6 and 9. The poor bugger last year had about 57 different number 6s, 95 different fullbacks, and his dummy half changed every week. Give him stability and let him do his thing. Jake Trbojevic is going to be consistent as all hell. Call me a biased prick if Tom plays 15 games, if DCE stays healthy, and if Jake's Jake, he's not going to do anything wrong. He's the best player every year for us. I don't care what anyone says. He's Manly's most important player probably. Take him out, defence falls apart. But Manly will make the 8. I don't care what you say. If I could guarantee you Tom would play every game, I have us in the top 4. Especially if we can get Fainu back in June. I have high aspirations for Manly. We won't win the comp. I probably would have us higher than 7th if I wasn't putting this on the internet so people could give me shit. But DCE tapping me for a big year. Tommy Turtle play 15 plus games. Jakey's a freak. Manly, fans, me, don't get so excited like we were last year, but we're making the 8. Do not worry about it. Call me a biased prick in the comment section below. And going into 6th position, a team that at some points I didn't have in the 8, but I'm going to back them. It is the Newcastle Knights. I reckon Ponga and Pearce will get a combination, a lethal one going. I reckon Mitchell Pearce is the key to this team. I am tipping him for a big award. Alright, I probably just gave it away, but I don't care. Mitchell Pearce is the key to success for this team. Their forward pack is still lethal. They get Jay and Brayley back into starting dummy half. The thing that concerns me is that probably their backline besides Ponga. I like Edric Lee. I love Bradman best. But Heimel Hunt and probably Kurt Mann. But I reckon Kurt Mann is probably the better 5'8 option, but you don't have a centre. So Kurt Mann's probably going to play centre. Blake Green's going to play 5'8. David Clement and Jacob Saifidi or Daniel Saifidi, they're all freaks in the front row. They'll be good there. Their back row, Fitzgibbon. They get Price and Frizzell. This is the thing. People think the Knights are going to fall off. When you look at them, their team's actually better. but they're still missing that centre and probably, you know what, Lachlan Fitzgibbon and they got Mitch Barnett as well. Yeah, they got a lot of good players. They got a lot of good players. Connor Watson's a good utility as well. Just their backline depth isn't the best. That's the only issue I have with Newcastle is their backline depth. I don't know if they're going to go top 4. I reckon they're going to be inconsistent again. Just that little Mitchell Pearce, captaincy thing. I don't think it'll stress him out too much. At the end of the day, it's still Pearce's team. It's just, club marketing purposes and all that. Mitchell Pearce is still the man. If he plays good, Newcastle play well. They still probably have David Clemmer, who's probably one of the best front rowers in the competition. Mitch Barnett's a beast. They got so many beast players. They're again like Manly. There's so many players in that team where you go, oh yeah, he's top 3 or top 5 in that position. But Ponga, please have a good year. I'm tipping him to have a big year, Kalen Ponga. For some reason, I can feel it. Kalen Ponga, get back to his best, all right? If him and Pearce can get a lethal combination going and be consistent, not even have to be elite consistent, just consistently good, Newcastle do well. They got such a good forward pack that Pearcey and Ponga should be able to play off the back of that. So if the forward pack can get on front row, which they probably will, it's one of the best forward packs in the comp, and Pearcey and Ponga can play well off the back of it, they'll do well. Ponga, just let your first instinct be run the footy. When you run the football, you're a beast. When you try and pass it too much, you're not. So just run it, and then pass when you see a gap. That's my thing to Ponga. Pearce, Ponga, get on the back of that forward pack. Newcastle fans, be excited. And now it's time to talk about the Fast and the Furious, the Freak 5. This top 5 for me and for most people is pretty much set in stone. You got to predict where they all finish. You know what teams they are. I don't have to go into it. In 5th position, the one missing the 4. Give me the crap. Dislike the video. I do not care. All right, I actually do. Please don't dislike the video. Like me. Love everything. But in 5th position, I have the Penrith Panthers. For me, they got the biggest target on their back, and they're pretty much their roster and their depth has only gotten worse. Why did you let go of Josh Mansour? Why did you let go of Zane Tenavano? Why did you let go of James Tarmo? They got a lot of freak plays. Nathan Cleary, if he can play like last year, they're good. But I don't know if he can. That grand final and Origin loss may scar him. Jerome Luai, it was his first proper year. He could have a bit of second-year syndrome. We do see it all the time, guys. We do see it all the time. Charlie Staines has played 100 minutes of football. Yes, he scored 94 tries by diving in a corner. Great. He's still no Josh Mansour. A lot of people think Mansour's underrated. I reckon Mansour was a big loss. He's a good meter eater. And, he lost Penrith. I don't know why he had to let him go. Their fullback, Dylan Edwards, is good, but when you compare him to the other fullbacks, he's probably not even in the top 8. Their forward pack is great. James Fisher-Harris on last year was the best front rower in the competition. Viliami Kikau is one of the best second rowers in the competition. Liam Martin or Kurt Capel will do a job in that other back row position. I don't know if Moses Leota has earned, he has earned, but I don't know if he can replicate, his starting as good as his back. I don't know if he can replicate his performances last year off the bench as a starter. I reckon he's a really good impact player, and taking James Tarmo out is good, pretty bad for Penrith. Isaiah Yeo at lock was good last year. Don't know if he can replicate it. I'm going to back him to replicate it. I still got them 5th, all right? I still got them 5th. I reckon the 5th is set. The top 5 are all definitely making the 8, and then it's just the rest of the competition fighting out for those last 3 spots. If Penrith come first again, I will not be shocked. Wherever these top 5 finish, it doesn't shock me. As long as they're in the top 5, it won't shock me. Penrith, just, don't expect 17 in a row, all right? The grand final's going to do something to them, but they're still going to be great. They're still freaks. They're good. They're 5th, all right? They're still 5th, all right? Don't yell at me. I've got them in 5th. They're going to make the 4 probably, It's me. I'm an idiot. But Penrith, Panthers, expect a good year. It's only 5th. You're still going to be a contender, all right? Moving into the top 4, and this is probably the most hate you could ever get for putting a team in the top 4 in this position. But in 4th, I have the Melbourne Storm. Yes, they got Harry Grant. Yes, their entire team is freakish. There's not one bad player in their starting 13. But let me just tell you, you are taking out not only the club's captain, but the greatest player of all time. You're taking Cameron Smith out of a team. If you're telling me that Cameron Smith getting taken out of a team, the greatest ever player, isn't a bad thing, then you're an idiot, all right? I'm sorry, but you can't expect Melbourne to be as good in 2021 as they have been with Cameron Smith. Yes, they're still freaks. They got Cameron Munster, who's probably up there with Teddy as the best player in the world. They've got probably one of the best forward packs. They probably have one of the best backlines despite the wing spot, which is going to be fighting over Remus Smith and Jennings, and it's Bellamy. They'll probably make him a top 3 winger by the end of the competition. You know, they got the best winger in the game. They got one of the best fullbacks in the game. They got the best 5'8". They got one of the best front rowers. Christian Welch and Jesse Bromwich are going to kill people, all right? They got the best bench player. The people worry about Harry Grant getting, injured for the first couple of weeks. It's Brandon Smith. He's still a freak. He's probably an elite dummy half. Maybe not that good, but he's pretty beast. And, if they're going to be missing Finucane, what? You chuck Nelson at lock? You're telling me that's not going to be good? Finucane's a freak. Obviously, they'd rather have him there. I want him to play for New South Wales last year. If he played, we would have won. But that's a different story. They're back rowers, Kenny Bromwich. Good luck as captain, mate. He's a freak. Felice. I can't say anything about Melbourne nobody knows. Every player on their team is a freak. It's just you're taking the GOAT out. They're still finishing 4th. They're probably still... It wouldn't surprise me if they came 1st or 2nd, But it's just, for me, you're taking out the greatest player of all time. They're going to struggle. They're not going to be as good. I don't think Melbourne are going to finish 4. I don't think Melbourne will finish outside the 4. But I think Melbourne... You're in for a good year. Yeah, I'm just going to shut up before I make myself a fucking idiot. Melbourne... Do not expect Harry Grant to come and have the same impact straight away. You've lost the greatest player of all time. That's a discussion for a different time. In my opinion, Cameron Smith is the greatest ever player. You take him out of a team, they're going to struggle. Melbourne, you're 4th. I feel this is the worst prediction I've explained because I've just rambled on. But hey, let's get into the top 3. And in 3rd position is the boys from the ACT. The Canberra Raiders are going for a good year. They're in for a good year. Last year, they lost the preliminary final of the eventual premiers without, probably, screw it, their best player and now the best dummy half in the game since Cameron Smith's gone. Josh Hodgson is their Cameron Smith. They had to play without him last year. They got him back this year. He's going to do wonders for him. Bateman and Kottridge are 2 huge losses, yes. But Harawira Naira isn't too bad of a replacement. And I feel like Curtis Scott is going to get back to his best after his whole police investigation thing has come to an end. The poor guy. Their wingers, they still got Rapana, who's definitely getting on. I really like Bailey Simonson. Can anyone ever tell you when Charles Nickel-Clockstad has had a bad game? They got the Dalian medalist, the best 5'8", Jack White, and they got George Williams, who, again, he could have a bit of second-year syndrome. I don't think he will. The fact that if they can have Hodgson play there, 20-plus games. If Hodgson can play 20-plus games, they're good. Elliot Whitehead's probably top 3 second rower. At lock, Joseph Tarpany, what a year here. They're going to have Horsburgh on the bench. That's the thing about Canberra. They got such good depth in every position. They got Bellamy to play winger or centre. They've got Sam Williams or even Frawley to play a half position. They got Havili or Starling to come in and play dummy half. They've got 95 front rowers that any team would be lucky to have. Soliola, Corey Horsburgh, Dynamis Louis. They have the best prop in the game. They have Josh Papali, the best front rower in the competition. They're good. The Canberra Raiders should expect top 4 despite losing Bateman and Kottridge, who were 2 freaks. But, when you look at what they've lost, look, last year you take Hodgson out. He wasn't part of that team. Now you put him back in. In my opinion, they're a better team despite losing Bateman and Kottridge because you have Hodgson. Hodgson's in for a big year like he did in 2019. And 2019, in that year, he was better than Cameron Smith. Fight me. It was like clear. I'm not even going to go into that. But Canberra Raiders fans, expect to be contenders. Expect top 4. If you don't finish in the top 4, I will be shocked. Top 5, actually, because the top 5 is pretty much the top 4 this year. Those teams are just on a different level to everyone else. But Canberra fans, get excited. I'm backing you for a good 2021. And in 2nd position, it is without a doubt the premiership favourites going into 2021. It is the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The South Sydney Rabbitohs will learn from 2019. Wayne Bennett got these boys sprinting out of the gate and they fell off towards the back end of the year. But this team is better. Latrell Mitchell at the fullbacks position. If he can get involved, if he cannot be lazy, he will, assert himself as one of the best fullbacks in the comp. They got the best backline. They got the best halves combination. They probably have the best spine along with Canberra. But their forward pack is the question mark. They have Ojai Arrow. They're missing a back rower. Their front rowers, they got a lot of people there, so I'm not too worried about them. They just don't have anyone elite there. Cameron Murray has to play in the middle. His combination with Cook is lethal. Damien Cook is the man of this team. I don't care what you say. He makes Cody Walker, Adam Reynolds, and Latrell Mitchell all better. This whole attack runs through Damien Cook. And I know I just said Hodgson is the best dummy half in the competition, but Cook is so close to second. Damien Cook, if he can get back to 2018, 2019 Cookie, you're in for a good year. It killed me not to have him first, if I'm being completely honest. The only reason I have him second is because I reckon Wayne's going to learn from 2019 when they came sprinting out of the gate. He's going to, they're going to just build momentum. They're probably going to not come out of the gates 10-0 like Parramatta did and like they did the year before. They've got to just build, like Melbourne do, like Manly did in 2008 when we started 0-2, that sort of stuff. You just got to build your season. And I feel like Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, Adam Reynolds, they'll improve every week. The only concern about the Rabbitohs is, like I said, their forward pack, as well as the Adam Reynolds contract situation. I reckon that might distract him. He is the club captain. He is the dummy the halfback. He is their most experienced player. He's going to be fighting for a contract, though, so it'll work in two ways. Either he'll panic and overplay his hand, or he'll have a phenomenal year. It killed me not to have him first. They're going deep this year. I can already guarantee you that. They're a contender. They're the premiership favourites for a reason. Their roster's only improved. They're freaks. They literally are good in every position besides the back row, which Jaden Sewer is inconsistent. And then, you're going to have to probably chuck Jai Arrow or someone in there. Their forward pack might get monstered a couple of times, which won't allow Cook to create with Murray, with Walker, with Reynolds, with Latrell. But if their forward pack can do a job, they have so many good players playing off the back of it, they'll be right. They have Dane Gagai, who's a top 3 centre. They've got Alex Johnston. He'll score 95 tries this season, probably. It's good looking that way. But you're a good team. Rabbitohs expect to be contending if you do not make the 4. This is the only team where I reckon if they don't make the 4, it should be a failure. But again, as long as you make finals, who cares? You're in for a big year. South fans, you deserve to have high expectations. And now, it is time to talk about the minor premiers. South, you just heard me praise it, and now you're going to hate me. In first spot, in the minor premiers, I've gone for the Sydney Roosters. They have the best backline. They have the best forward packs. They are missing just one thing, and it happens to be really important. They are missing a 5'8". Luke Keary will make the transition from 5'8" to halfback. He will still play his left corridor. They are missing that 5'8". And if Lachlan Lamb can just do what Flanagan did last year, have a good kicking game, give it to Manu early, give it to the Morris boys early. Just let these boys who are the best in their positions have a run. They have the best fullback. They have the 2 best wingers. They have the best centres. They have the best front rowers. They have the best second rowers. They have Victor Radley, who probably won't win Dally M because of the point system, but at the beginning of last year, he was the best lock in the competition. He's a freak. The only 2 positions are probably Jake Friend, who's not even that bad. It's still Jake Friend and a half. Besides the half, they literally have elite players in every position. They were still the favourites for the majority of last year till the South Sydney Rabbitohs just absolutely gave it to them. But the Roosters will be your minor premiers for 2021 based on me. Guys, that is my ladder prediction. Sorry if I rambled on a little bit. This is going to be a long-ass video. Tomorrow is the Dally M predictions as well as the final episode of the Bulldogs career mode. And then on Sunday, I'll let you know who I think will win the competition with my finals predictions. Look, let me know if you agree or disagree. Don't call me an idiot and not, back it up. Call me an idiot. Call me every name in the book. I do not care, but at least justify why you're saying that. Don't just go, you're an idiot. Tell me why I'm an idiot. I'd love to know why. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you are new. We're going to be banging out footy content all bloody year. This is the place you want to be if you love your NRL. Also, new Rugby Live 4 career mode starting soon, so you got to look out for that on the next gen, on the PS5. It's going to be a hell of a year, guys. This is only part 1 of my predictions. And yeah, this is probably the foundation one. This is the one that everyone looks at probably the most, besides who your competition winners are, that you'll find out on Sunday. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.